Welcome to a series of conversations around resilience made possible through the Landcare led landscape resilience tools for data and restoration project.
So part of the project was to really have a bit more in First Nations sort of knowledge sharing and input into land management practices. Through that I met Dean and it became evident that the story of resilience wasn't necessarily an ecology block, but what Dean and some of his other co-workers are doing across the full region and bringing resilience back to communities and the environment through reintegrating cultural land management practices like cultural burning across the region. So Dean's very active in the community at Brungle Tumut. He works for Riverina Local Land Services on a project that's done in conjunction with ANU Sustainable Farms, where they're looking at long-term monitoring of TSRs with white box woodland, grassy woodland. So through that project, Dean's engaged lots of communities and really getting them involved in getting these practices back on their country and back on country in general. And he's just so passionate about it, I think, is just the way to talk about it. And the ecology reserve itself, it's going to be a long haul to get it back to a nice, pristine, sort of open box woodland, but you can already start to see the results of, what this cultural burning is doing to that landscape and other environmental management practices that they're putting into the ecology reserve. Just with some of the initial results that have come out of the ANU trial, they're finding seed banks of threatened species in some of these white box woodlands that haven't been recorded in these areas for generations. So the uniqueness of cultural land management is that obviously our environment is resilient in terms of fire, but we only see wildfire, big fire generally, and so bringing these practices back is building a better community involvement in land management.
The fuel that's in there, all the vegetation there is fire fuel, and as you can see, it goes from the ground basically through to some of the canopy here. The biggest thing, if we get a fire in here, it's gonna burn extremely hot, and that will put the town on a bit of a scare, I think. So what we're trying to do at the moment is to actually thin it out a little bit. So the wattle here there's way too much wattle. Any vegetation that is this close together is generally recolonised after an event, after a fire, or if people scrape an area. If there's seed bank there, wattle generally comes back a lot more and a lot thicker. So trying to thin it out and trying to put in the endemic plants that were here prior. So in a lot of the traditional landscape, there wasn't a full ladder as such to climb into the canopy, whereas here I wouldn't have a problem at all getting into one of those trees in the canopy, and once it gets into the canopy, it can burn across the whole canopy and take that canopy out, as we've seen in a few big fires recently. And once that happens, then you basically got your vegetation upside down. So Aboriginal people look at the canopy today and saying that it's upside down, where you've got most fuel down here now and very little up here, where it should be just around the other way. And that's basically how we managed it. So that fire will trickle through here. Basically, what we do is what we say is walk with the fire. So if we light it here, then we're going to follow it. We'll pick up this native stuff here. We'll light this and then we'll carry it to the next spot. So we're using traditional methods as much as we can. So that's what we call walking with the fire or carrying the fire with us. So they're two of the terminologies we use when we're doing these cultural burning. A lot of communities understand that, and now a lot of agencies and people who live around fire are starting to understand that also, which is good. When we're doing a burn, any type of burn, if you walk to the trunk of this tree, you're going to see a little critter that's anywhere in that vicinity straight up that tree. So we can see these lizards and everything else. They're straight back onto the fire ground as soon as that fire has passed, because it's only burned the surface area, so it hasn't burnt into the soil, so it hasn't heated that soil up either.
I mean, we also talk about resilience in terms of culture. So, we're talking about a 60,000-year-old living culture that was almost gone from our landscape as well. And Dean's work's really bringing that back to the land, to country.
Most of our culture revolves around fire or water. So we're trying to learn a lot of that sort of stuff. What plants are associated with fire, what plants use fire, what animals don't mind fire, all that sort of stuff. We're utilising some of the stuff we get out of the fire, so if it's a bit of dead timber or whatever, we'll utilise that, work that, and then give it to a family member or something. So all of that sort of stuff gives us basically a sense of pride, a sense of contributing, a sense of belonging, and we're doing something that our ancestors have been doing for 40,000, 50,000 years. We've introduced that back here. So we feel a lot where there's a lot of pride within ourselves, and especially the burn team should be extremely proud of what they've achieved in this short time.
Wiradjuri Landcare Incorporated delivered this project in partnership with Holbrook Landcare Network. The project was made possible through the Federal Drought Fund's Resilient Soils and Landscapes Grant program.